In the book Into the Wild by John Krakauer, there is a man that goes by the name Chris McCandless who decided he wanted to go in the Alaskan bush and bring the bare minimum and try to live off the land. I am on the side where I think McCandless was an admirable philosopher, and what he was doing was cool.
From my point of view, Andrew, I believe that in the book Into the Wild, Chris, one of the main characters, which is also a normal kid that came from what seemed like a normal family, Chris, a 22-year-old graduate from college, left his family ripping up all of his money, IDs, and his social security number. He left his perfect life to go homeless and then 2 years later die out in the wild. These are one out of many reasons why Chris McCandless is nothing but a reckless fool.
Okay, Esteban, here are some reasons why I think McCandless was an admirable philosopher. One reason why I think McCandless was an admirable philosopher is when Jim Gallion picked him up off the side of the road, and was bringing him to his destination. Jim realized that McCandless was not very well packed for what he was wanting to do. So when they got to their destination, Jim insisted to give McCandless boots and food, but McCandless refused and ended up burning most of his money, leaving all his watches and stuff that would tell him the time and date behind, because he said he wants to just live off the land.
Chris McCandless isn't very philosopher like Andrew, and here are some reasons why. Chris, when picked up by a stranger hitchhiking, had a conversation in the car. The man's name that picked up Chris was Jim Gallion. "Do you even have a hunting license?" Jim Gallion said. "Hell no. How I feed myself is not the government's business. Fuck their stupid rules," said Chris McCandless. This evidence, or the conversation that came out of the book, just based on his word choice and what he says about the government, is very rude. Chris disrespecting the government is not very philosopher-like.
Well, Esteban, I still disagree with you. And another reason why I think McCandless was an admirable philosopher was he was capable of viewing his dreams, and then he was able to strive as hard as he needs to fulfill that dream. And I like this because it shows that he puts his mind to something and he figures out what he needs to do, then he will follow through and achieve his dream and try to live off the land as best as he could.
Well, Andrew, I still don't agree with you, and I don't think I'll ever agree with you about this, because what Chris McCandless did was not very smart at all, and this makes him a very, very reckless fool. Another quote that I picked up from the book from Chris is, "I now walk into the wild." Now, when he said this, he was walking into the wild with nothing but a few things, his clothes, and that's it. That is very unprepared for and nothing but a reckless fool. So I don't know why you'd have any other mindset or think he's smart for what he did, because in the end, he's a very, very, very reckless fool.
Okay, Esteban, I see where you're coming from, but that still doesn't make him a reckless fool. All he was trying to do was live off the land and do what he wanted to do